There are a lot of terrible fans out there, and the bands we're going to talk about today have gained a toxic fan base to varying degrees and sizes. That is not to say every fan of these bands is toxic, but it's pretty clear the amount of toxic fans for these groups is definitely out of control. Whether it's online or in person, I think there is a strong argument for how toxic the fan bases of these groups have gotten. I'm listing off 10. I'm not ranking them, it's just a list, and I know there's more than 10, so leave a comment if you know of others, or just leave a comment if you agree with these selections. I already know some psycho out there will disagree with me on at least one of these points and have a 5-paragraph point trying to prove me wrong, and thus proving my point further that some of you are toxic. What sucks is that some of these bands do not deserve the toxic fans they've gained. The first group definitely does, though. Low-hanging fruit to start off. When the band is known first for being toxic to their own fans, especially from their vocalist Ronnie Radke, then you know the fan base is going to be toxic in return. What's worse is that Radke does not pretend to not be a terrible transphobic show-canceling fan-hating instigator, but the toxic fans cheer Falling in Reverse on for that attitude. What did I just say that appeals to some of you? Wild how the fans stick around considering how many concerts get canceled every year, and the growth of the band is due to a singer desperate for attention and much less the music. But if you want a pretend bad boy who complains a lot, then this is the band for you. I think that's why Falling in Reverse fans are so toxic as well. They know how bad the singer is, and they rarely defend the music outside of a few singles, but still support the group because... reasons? Falling in Reverse fans are falling into their own toxicity. Yeah, you probably didn't think I'd put a band I like on here, but no way I could ignore this one as Tool absolutely has some pretentious, condescending fans. To this day, you cannot hear someone mention the Fibonacci sequence without thinking about a guy in a Tool shirt trying to explain how Maynard's a genius. Also, Maynard James Keenan is insane, so there's that. But regardless from that, Tool diehards become obsessive about Tool's music and live shows. Tool fans also think themselves are geniuses because they understand Tool at a level most metal fans could never comprehend with their pea-brain minds. Keep in mind, this is a band that has a lot of cringe song titles, lyrics, material. I may be a Tool fan, but seeing someone write endlessly about anima would put me to sleep by the first paragraph. Yes, you love Tool, and you are also a genius. Good job, buddy. From a fan base of condescending know-it-alls to a fan base of ex-cops and parole violators, Five Finger Death Punch definitely has the incel core fan base down pat. It doesn't help that Five Finger Death Punch concerts are literally sweaty 40 to 50-year-olds all looking for reasons to shove each other down in a lazy mosh pit, but the angrier a divorced dad is with no visitation rights, the more likely he relates to Ivan Moody and company. Then there's the online dialogue of the knucklehead fan base, the ones that blast Living the Dream while planning their next Jan 6th attack. I'm sure the last comment offended some of you, but you should really be just offended by how bad Five Finger Death Punch has been the past decade. You know, you can be mad about that while you go apply for ICE. The fans are meatheads who refuse to acknowledge how radio-friendly and rage-baity the music is. Five Finger Death Punch makes music for men that really hate women.
You and me and fat fucking conflict.
Getting a little more current and awkward, and I hear a lot of angry people typing out, "Separate the art from the artist." Yeah, okay, you go on ahead. A giant wall of death full of college bros and 30-year-old monster energy slammers running headfirst into each other while screaming, "Alex Terrible has reformed!" That's not helping anyone. The toxic side of STP's fanbase are the angry defenders of the bare-knuckle boxing bear wrestler and how he can support and affiliate with whoever he wants, and if you don't like it, you aren't metal enough or tough enough. Slaughter to Prevail's fanbase has become the sad Venn diagram of UFC lovers, Yahtzee deniers, and deathcore fans. And in that awful overlap, you have Slaughter to Prevail diehards. I feel awful with how well that description perfectly labels the problematic prevailers? I don't know what SCP fans call themselves. I'm just gonna go with that. Now we go to the bargain bin for metalcore. All That Remains definitely was a big thing decades ago. Then Phil started to try and preach about how the world acts and how men should act and how tough he is, including his obsessive love for guns. Take that and apply it to an extremely libertarian fan base who also loves guns and also has a lot of cases of small man syndrome, trying to prove toxic masculinity doesn't exist, all while trying to deny that All That Remains music is still as good as it was in 2006. Spoiler, it's not. The fans love to rally behind Labonte on Twitter, and over the years, fewer and fewer fans are showing up to support All That Remains live. Did you know they had a new album come out this past year? Yep, it's about as exciting as I'm selling it. Don't tell that to All That Remains fans, though, or they'll lecture you about how All That Remains is still elite metalcore and how women are monsters that we shouldn't put the toilet seat down for them ever, because real men, rah, 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 rah. That's literally the best All That Remains fan base impression I could give. Let's switch gears and make everyone uncomfortable. The only thing as awkward and problematic as talking about Marilyn Manson in the last several years is talking about their aging, creepy fan base who loves to defend Manson no matter the accusations. So take the Gen X and Millennial edgelords, get them together, and have them all type on YouTube and Reddit about how Manson is their savior and is innocent and those women had it coming. What's wild is Manson still had a strong lady fan base in this creepy, toxic cult. Yep, he still pulls in the ladies. Something about the face of Marilyn Manson and the evil lyrics and endless inebriated concert and festival performances for decades really speaks to some of these fans, and that's horrifying. Manson has claimed he's been sober for years now. Well, his fans sure aren't. I mean, not even a little, especially the ones that go to the concerts to get all awkward with each other. It's like a real-life subreddit. You know, I wouldn't have added Rammstein to this list if not for the last few years and when the devoted fans really turned on anyone making accusations against Till Lindemann. The fan base of Rammstein has turned totally toxic and is now solely in support of Lindemann's innocence. The music is not even talked about as much anymore. Those massive stadium shows Rammstein is filled with people who love the raunchy, intense spectacle, and then everyone goes online just to attack the women that accuse Till. On the same night. They go from concerts to online anger. So much music over the decades. Their return over the last few years had solid stuff as well, but the music discussion does not matter because now it's just a 4chan style discussion about Rammstein memes and women haters and attacking anyone. There's a lot of women hate in toxic fan bases. Did you notice that? Remember when you could talk about a band and the music and art and not have to get angry at people online when they talk about the band members? Because toxic Rammstein fans don't and love to fan the flames. I don't know if I've seen a toxic fan base ruin how a band functions so much like Sleep Token, or at least in recent memory. Worshippers are so invasive and demanding to find out the band members' identities that they gladly research and dox them. It got so bad that the Sleep Token lore had to die down a little on the latest album, just so Vessel could address it all in song. Some Sleep Token fans are so obsessively talking about how great the band is, it gets to the point that other people end up hating Sleep Token just because of those toxic, overbearing fans. Other Sleep Token fans are so desperate to learn about the group, they don't want the members to have a moment's rest and will learn anything about them because they love Sleep Token so much. That's a level of toxic fan I haven't seen in a while, and I'm not sure it's going away either, as Sleep Token's only gonna get bigger. Can't the worshippers just spend their time interacting about how they like the band and lore and not angrily screaming at others for not liking Sleep Token enough, or screaming about how they actually know who the members are? Remember my low-hanging fruit statement earlier? Yeah, same logic applies for the clowns. This might come as a shock, but it's really not any true hatred towards ICP. It's ICP turning regular people into juggalos that's the real crime. There's no such thing as a true juggalo not being toxic. I don't mean the people that listened when they were 13. I mean the grown adults that still travel to the gatherings and whoop whoop at strangers because they are down with the clowns. As if that's a life statement to live by. After working a show with ICP Live, the problem isn't the show on stage. It's the fan base who loves to act tough and angry, but not angry about anything specific. It's just a group of grown-ups who never grew up from middle school and still love to wear jinkos and face paint and embarrass their extended family. There's a reason the gathering happens for juggalos. It's because juggalos aren't invited to their own family reunions. Stop yelling at me! This one hurts because while the fan base before Chester's passing was definitely getting divided over the course of how the music was going, in 2024 and 2025, it's a rage-induced war over the current state of Linkin Park, all led by the fans themselves. That Linkin Park underground is now having an above-ground fight over Emily Armstrong, daring to continue on without Chester in Linkin Park, and the extreme online toxicity of a fan base that loved Linkin Park so much that they are attacking the other fans out of principle. It's fan-on-fan violence with Linkin Park. The band has enough trouble dealing with the former fans and haters. Now Linkin Park has to deal with their own toxic fans, making everything else a problem. That's how you know you've made it, I guess. When your own fans are making different types of toxicity within the fandom. That's some type of achievement for longevity. The fact that I'm even talking about Linkin Park like this is going to make me a target also. Can't wait to see those comments. Has internet discussion in fandoms exacerbated parasocial relationships for bands? Absolutely. Is it the internet's fault? No, but it also doesn't help that the toxicity for so many groups is only going to get worse because people cannot stop themselves from going insane about their favorite groups, online and in real life. I want to keep asking what your least favorite fan base is or what you think the most toxic fan base is and leave a comment, but I feel like that's asking, hey, what's your least favorite type of toe fungus? Tell us all about it! I really need to find a more positive way to engage with my audience. I want good bands to grow, but I also don't want good bands to have to deal with this garbage. I'm aware that's probably asking too much. I can still hope though, and someday a band will have a passionate but logical fan base that understands boundaries and acceptable human behavior. What a dream.